Hi, I'm Jeff Murrow. Welcome to True Texas History, where today I will be talking about Coahuila and Texas. Because it was on this day, May 7th, 1824, that the official state of Coahuila y Texas, or y Tejas, was formed. Now, let me go ahead and give you some background so that you understand what was going on and the significance of it. Okay, prior to the formation of the state, Mexico had been ruled by an emperor, Emperor Iturbide, and Iturbide was, let me go back even further. When Mexico gained its independence from Spain, because keep in mind, Spanish forces were the ones enforcing things, and like for instance, with the Gutierrez-McGee expedition, it was essentially Americans versus the Spanish. Even though the officers had been, many of the officers and men had been born in Mexico, and Santa Anna was there at the Battle of Medina. When Mexico got its independence, one of the Mexican generals, Iturbide, went ahead and quickly assumed the reins of power and proclaimed himself Emperor of Mexico. That didn't last long. He was overthrown, and one of those that was involved with the overthrowing was Santa Anna. So Santa Anna had fought for the Spanish, and then later on was involved in the overthrow of Iturbide. Now, when Iturbide was overthrown, you had the Mexican Republic that was formed. And much like the United States, the Mexican Republic consisted of, I believe it's like 19 different states that were joined together in this republic. Now, this shows up in the symbolism of the Mexican flag, where you see the cactus, and each frond of the cactus represents one of the Mexican states. Now, at the time, Coahuila and Texas was formed on May 7th, 1824. They had a flag that looked roughly like this. The Mexican tricolor, because tricolors were very popular at that point, especially with the independence movements. This is something that had started in France. You saw it in France, you saw it in Italy, and several other European nations. Now it had the two stars to represent the two states of Coahuila and Texas, because they had been separate, and they went ahead and joined them. Now, the exceptions to that, Laredo was still part of Tamaulipas, that state, and the El Paso region was associated with the Chihuahua state. So they were in different Mexican states. Now, from some of the reports in early Texas history, this flag was rarely flown by the Texans and the colonists. It was only on the official government buildings. For whatever reason, the Texans had their own idea as to what needs to be done. Strangely enough, you have characters like Philip Dimmitt, who later on gave us the Goliad flag, and he decided to come up with his own variation, Constitution of 1824. It's almost like they're modifying things all the time. The colonists in Texas pretty much tried to stay out of the internal wranglings of Mexico City and what all was going on there, because the government was still unstable. They did know that with the changes that came in 1824 and the formation of the Republic, it gave them some unique freedoms and laws that they could count on. And this is one of the things that when Santa Anna took over, he became a dictator, and he did away with some of these guarantees because he felt like he had more authority than the Mexican Congress, which was called the Cortes, had. And so he unilaterally brought some dictatorial changes to policies that affected the colonists. Because when they came here because they were invited. They could live with the laws. They were willing to put up with them, and they became Mexican citizens. Many times the history books don't point that out, but they were willing to give up their American citizenship to become Mexican citizens. It was only when the dictatorial policies of Santa Anna came along that they were not willing to put up with that. And that led to some problems. But this was the date that the two states were formed. The state of Coahuila still exists in Mexico. And at the time that the two states were joined, it was the poorest region of Mexico. Texas has gone on and become very prosperous since then, but Coahuila is still relatively poor. But that's what happened this day in Texas history. And hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, leave them below. I'll be glad to get to them. And until next time, vaya con Dios, my friends. Goodbye.